right now at all Greg
Pull it
or...
back up just in case.
Hey, we are back with Anne-Marie with Sully Farm. Tell us a little bit about how you got started with Sully Farm. I met you a couple of years ago at the farmer's market. So
Yeah, was it the farmer's market?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So I got started, it's actually been almost 7 years now that I've been farming. And I got started shortly after high school. My family moved back here from Austin. And this is our family land is located outside Texarkana and Hooks. And so when we moved back, when I was in high school, I was still living at home. So I got animals just for fun. I was really interested in health and nutrition at the time. Had learned to cook a couple years before that. And so just very much into the whole food world and all that. So I got animals and I wanted to start a little garden. And it's been 7 years now, and now it's my career. So
Yeah, it's awesome. What interested you in regenerative agriculture? That's primarily what you focus on, right?
yeah.
Okay.
So that specifically, what drew me to that was it felt feasible. I didn't have, obviously, the capital or the income or anything to invest $1 million into like these massive chicken house structures or, pig farm or anything like that. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a huge, huge investment to do farming on like a commercial scale. And, me at 16, like that wasn't even close to an option, especially not since I didn't walk into it with like other family doing it. Like my parents weren't doing it or anything like that. So that kind of led me towards like, well, how do I start small? How do I start, with just a little bit and get started? So that kind of led me to more of like the sustainable agriculture and movable fencing and just newer technology and stuff that enables you to do it on a smaller scale. And so that was when I discovered regenerative agriculture. And once I learned about that, and I kind of learned all about how the ecological side of it and the animal welfare side of it and the health and all that kind of all came together, it was like, oh, this is perfect. I mean, this is what I want to do. So
I love how you kind of bring it full circle with your animals. That's just so important because you raise them before they're sent to butcher, correct?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that makes such a big difference versus what you can purchase in a grocery store. Can you tell us a little bit about like what are the perks of buying from you versus buying from grocery stores? Because I know a lot of people don't necessarily know.
Yeah, and I think one of the greatest things about living in America is that we have like that freedom of choice. And so we really do need to have both options. We need the grocery stores and we need local producers. And one thing that we have a lot of right now is the grocery store option, and we don't have a lot of the local option. And so when I basically brought this idea back from Austin kind of was already good at that. They already had like all, really nice farmers markets, really nice little local grocery stores and that kind of thing. They had local farmers. So when I came back to Texarkana, I knew there was no one currently here doing quite what I wanted to do. And so one of the best things about it is just, providing that option. And one of the biggest difference, there's a few things. There's a few things that make it really different. But obviously purchasing local, and everybody knows the value of buying local, keeping that dollar in your local economy versus, say, supporting a pork farm in Idaho or, Wyoming or something like that, or cattle from across the country. But basically when we grow it here, process it here, and sell it here, you're keeping all those entities very much in
That's
the local,
really cool. I like
local
that.
community, local economy. So there's the local aspect of it. There's the freshness, which is another obvious one. Our product we process once a month. So, I mean, something you're going to get from us is not going to be over a couple months old. And we sell all frozen product. So all our meats are frozen, vacuum packed. And something you could get at the grocery store, I mean, could be months and months older. So
I like it because you really know where your stuff is coming from. Of course, if you buy it at the grocery store, you really don't know where that meat came from or what.
Yep.
And with having kids too, I know my husband, he used to deer hunt a lot, and I used to really like to have that food for my kids because I'm like, I know where this came from. I know it's all natural. So you having that option here is amazing, I think, because you can just walk in your store and what you get from right here.
And the transparency of it is another huge part of what I do is that when I got started, I wanted people to be able to come in and ask questions, and I wanted people to come in and say like, okay, well, how do you do this? And do you use antibiotics? Do you use wormers? Do you use this stuff? Is it genetically modified? Is it do you have soy in here? Like, I wanted people to be able to ask those questions, and I wanted to be able to know the process so fully that I could answer all those questions.
And you are really transparent. I follow you on Instagram, and my kids love it too, especially when you start having the piggies and everything.
Right.
But you document, if you don't already follow her on Instagram, it's Cylas Farm, right?
Solely Farm and Kitchen.
Solely Farm, yeah. It's amazing. I mean, you show everything, you know, and, you know, down to the nitty gritty of you know, getting in the fields and then with the animals. So definitely follow her on Instagram and all her social media accounts. And like you said, there's that transparency there.
Right.
So now, is this the time of year, or is your farm still open for people to come in and buy products and ask those questions? And is it still open?
We're open 3 days a week. We stayed open during the pandemic as well. It was super busy time for us, especially.
I
with,
think I remember that. Yeah,
the
you would
grocery
post like I
stores
had
kinda-
bacon or something,
Yeah,
and it was just
no,
gone.
It was crazy. For a couple months there, the grocery stores, I think people would come to my shop, and I hadn't gone into town for like months at the time, but like people would come into my shop and they'd be like, there's no eggs. All there is in the meat shelf is like pig liver and, you know, chicken feet and stuff like this. And so they'd come out and they'd actually, we were well stocked at the time. So we were doing really well there for a minute. But yeah, so we stayed open the whole time. We're open 3 days a week right now, Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Very limited hours because I run the shop as well as the farm. But yeah, it works, and we're at the farmers market on the weekends too.
So tell us about the farmers market. Now, did you play a role in kind of getting that? I know Cylas had said something about, did you play kind of a role in getting the Texarkana farmers market kind of back up and kicking, or do you?
Well, you're the manager now, right?
Right.
One of them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
okay.
I'm a part of the team up there at the city. So our farmers market on the Texas side is actually city run.
Okay.
And so I'm part of that management team.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've been with them for almost 3 years now. I was a vendor prior to that, so I wasn't on the management side. I was actually there selling my product from my farm. But then they had a job open up a couple years ago, and it was just a short-term thing. It was only a 3-year program. My job with them actually ends in September, so I've already done 2.5 years with them. But when I heard about it, I was like, well, from a vendor perspective, I'm like the best fit for the job because I know from the selling standpoint kind of what we need from a manager standpoint. And so I knew I had to do it, and so I did it. And it's been a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed that process. And yeah, we had a hard year last year getting things going. I didn't get to do nearly as many things as I wanted to. But I started the TXK mobile market last year, and that enabled us to kind of keep supporting the local growers and also have like that fresh food option during the pandemic. So that was a really cool program, and we plan on actually keeping that up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the farmers market is every Saturday, right? Yeah. I went to it this past weekend for the first time, and I felt like there were so many options. I mean, it was great.
That's
If
awesome.
you get a chance to, you kind of have to go right at 7, I think, to really get the good stuff. But I encourage everybody to go check it out on Saturdays.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I wanted you to talk a little bit about being a female in a primarily male industry. Like, you don't see that many female farmers as a whole, I don't think. You know, when
Yeah.
you think about a farmer, you think about a guy.
Yeah, sure.
So how is that being a female, you know, when you have to meet with other farmers or the butchers or whatever it may be?
To be honest, it's one of my greatest assets.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is one of my greatest privileges. I know a lot of people, I get that question fairly often, and I think people tend to expect a different answer because I don't know. I guess in a lot of male dominant industries, being a female can be difficult, and you can be looked down on and not fully respected and that sort of thing. So I really do value those experiences, but that has not been my experience at all, and I definitely use it to my advantage. And I don't know, it's not an issue for me at all.
That's awesome. You're unique, and it's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, and I definitely use that in my social media outreach and stuff like that. Quite a bit of my majority of followers is women, and so I feel like I can kind of give them a space to, to feel like they can do the same thing too. And I get a lot of really encouraging messages from other females, especially young women too, that are like, oh my gosh, like, seeing you do it makes me feel like I can do it too. And so that's
We
super-
think you're
that's super
cool in my
important.
house. Like, I've never met you in person. This is my first time to meet you, but I feel like I know who you are from social media. And my daughter, she just walked in. She's 11.
Yeah.
And when I first started following you, I mean, we just thought you were the coolest thing and all this stuff you were doing. And of course, they started asking those questions, like why is she killing her animals? And I'd explain to her, like, no, this is how it works. And this is just, plus those animals have a great life with you too. But we all think you're pretty cool. So
That's awesome.
you've got little fans too.
That's awesome.
So
I love it.
So you do something that's really cool. You host dinner parties, right? Can you tell us more about that?
Yeah, so a portion of the farm that I always wanted to kind of bring in is that farm to table aspect. And I had kind of first been introduced to that living in Austin. It's still kind of new here, but there it was kind of growing, and it's definitely trendy right now. But it always tied into that whole idea of transparency and being really open about processes. But then also, I think it's really important to kind of sometimes you have to take in the educational factor of teaching people how to relearn how to cook and to relearn how to eat well. And part of what goes into buying locally and buying from local farmers is that you have to eat what's in season. If you're not buying products from Hawaii and Mexico, and you're focusing on products that are growing right there in your local area, that means eating what's grown at that time. So a lot of people so much to me that's just so obvious because I'm doing it every day. I have to remember,
But
so
to me,
much,
I'm like,
it's not
so
obvious.
Strawberries aren't always in season?
No, right. And so, it's not obvious. And so
mind-blowing.
I have to remember that, and remember, you have to inform people that, this fresh tomato that's so good is not going to be good in December. You can grow it in December if, you have all the greenhouses and all that, and it takes, so much more energy. But it's not going to be the tomato that, if, grown locally, is grown in July, know. And so when I started doing those dinners, it was kind of a way to relearn what's in season, how to actually work with what is local. Because we can say all day, eat local, but what does that mean? How do you do it? What does that look like? What are those recipes? How do you put that on a plate? And so that's kind of what I do through those farm-to-table dinners is I get together with my other local farmers. It's not all just from my farm because I can't do everything. But I partner with a couple other local farms, and I design a menu based on what they have that's in season so that I can actually buy from them rather than just going to the store and buying something from the store. So I actually buy from these other local farms and put together a menu based on kind of what they're growing. And so I do both public and private parties. So public dinners, right now I'm prioritizing my private parties, and I only do public ones when I don't already have one scheduled. So this year I've only done, I think, one public dinner. The rest have all just been private.
Oh, wow.
But the private parties are basically people just message me and they're like, hey, I want to do something on this day, and we're going to bring this many people. And so I set a menu for them, and that's that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then on the public ones, I basically will pick a date myself and then post a link on my website, and that's just tickets, and then you can just come by yourself, or you can bring 1 or 2 or 3 or whatever. But on the private, you have to have a full, party of 15 or 12 or 20 or whatever. But the public dinners, you could just bring 1 or 2.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect for a birthday or something like that.
We get a lot of birthdays and just girls'
because
nights.
I'm over here just because I want to.
For sure.
Yeah.
Go out there.
Absolutely. So we'll do we usually do a 4 to 5 course meal, and then we put out a menu where you can kind of see everything that we did, and we also put our sources on there of where we get all our ingredients from. And then prior to dinner, we'll usually do, if the weather's nice enough, we'll do a little walk around the farm. We'll take you out. You can see the pigs, and if we have piglets, you get to go see the piglets and whatever else we have going on.
So we are coming up on that time of year. Are you going to start having the hours where people can drop by and play with the pigs, bring your kids? I know you kind of did that last year.
Yeah, so every once in a while we'll do basically whenever I have a baby animal, I'll take them from the farm and take them down to the shop, and so it's just kind of combined with our shop hours. So on Sunday I grabbed a couple of my piglets and I brought them down to the shop, and we had what we call a piglet party, or play with the piglets kind of thing. And so it just gives you people a chance to come and see, and then they're already at the shop anyway, so if they're already picking stuff up, it just kind of works out.
Yeah. Okay.
And we have 12 new ones as of the last 3 days. So
oh my goodness,
it's what I call piglet season right now. I've got 5 mamas that are due.
I feel like that. Oh my gosh, 5 more.
Yeah.
In addition to the 12.
Yes.
I'm like, that's just a full-time job right there. And you've got other animals at the farm right now too. I mean, that you don't have just the pigs. I mean, you've just got
a little bit.
So now, do you have a pretty big staff now? I know you said you originally just kind of started with you, and so from where you started and where you are now, can you kind of elaborate on that? I mean, how has it grown? I mean.
In a lot of ways, it's grown exponentially, and in some ways, it's just a lot kind of the same. I'm still on the same pieces of land that I commandeered from my aunt and my mom, and family land that nobody was using agriculturally. So I'm still on the same land. Still use the same big barn, raise my animals in. Still use the same type of fencing that I've used for the past 5 years, that sort of thing. But it's grown. I mean, I have a lot more animals now than I did. My systems, just through trial and error, is so much more efficient now than it was. Profitability has gone up. I mean, starting to just from like the business side, I've learned so much more about how to run a business and how to do my social media and marketing, and just there's so many components to it that I just kind of get a little bit better in all of the areas slowly. So.
I could see that. I mean, you have grown, but if you watch your social media, it's still, I don't know, you've got that, you're not a small farm, but you've got that kind of feel where it's just, anybody could come to your shop and talk to you, and
it's
just,
still, it's still the same
great.
ideals that I started with. I'm still like kind of keeping those up.
I think that's what people love about it.
Yeah, but it's definitely grown, and I'm just doing more business. But essentially, it's in a lot of ways the same. Yeah,
That's cool. Okay.
I've got to get back out there soon and see the pigs.
I know, right? I feel like I'm gonna leave my kids at home and just go with you.
Yeah.
Oh, they're gonna be mad.
Just kidding.
They're gonna be mad.
My daughter's probably back there like, what?
She's like, no.
So do you have any big goals then? Or you just kind of keep trucking, keep doing what you're doing?
Always.
Yeah.
Always have something on the horizon.
Yeah.
I'm working on expanding an area to where I can move my dinners to.
Okay.
So I've got kind of behind my shop, I've got a little bit more area to grow into that right now it's just kind of storage space. But I would like to get that remodeled to be able to relocate my farm to table dinners. Right now they're completely outside. They're on a patio, so it's covered, but it's not like AC'd at all. So it really limits me as far as being able to do those dinners, because if it's too hot, if it's too cold, I mean, you're not going to have the best time because it's not super comfortable. But I'm going to renovate that area, and that way I can do them outside if it's nice, and then we'll have like kind of an indoor, a little bit an indoor space to do them as well.
Cool.
So,
very cool.
So that's a big goal. Not the greatest time right now to be doing any kind of building or remodeling. So that's just kind of been a slow process, but I'm hoping to get that finished up. And then that's kind of the big one for this year.
Okay, that's exciting. Well, good. Did you have any other questions for?
I don't think so. I just think she's a total rock star.
I know. I've been very excited to have you on this cyshow. I was telling Cylas, I was like, she's just so interesting to me. I can't wait to have you on and hear about your story, and it's been a lot of fun to have you. So now tell everybody again if they're interested in coming out or asking you about a dinner party. Is it just Instagram, Facebook, or do you tell us about your website too?
I have a little bit of all of it. Website is sullyfarm.com. Our Facebook and Instagram are both Sully Farm and Kitchen. I have my email address on there, sullyfarm@gmail.com. My phone number is completely public. It's out there in the world, so you can always just text me, call me, any of that. It all works. Yeah.
All right, well, good. Well, it's been good to have you, so.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm excited to watch your show grow.
I know.
Thank you.
It's exciting. I like, that's the good thing about us is we have everybody's so different on. I feel like we have a little bit for everybody, so.
I love that.
Well, good. All right, well, Cylas, do you have anything else in general that you want to?
I don't.
No, we're good.
People need to get out to the farmer's market Saturday.
Yes, I'm telling you, it was amazing. I mean, I think I walked away with a little bit of everything. I walked home with much more than or not walked home, but I came home with much more than I expected. So definitely go check that out.
That's good.
And then stay tuned, and we'll release next week's lineup within the next few days. So,
Perfect.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. We'll see you next